Malik, yeah, transparent and honest with you. That's the basis that I want to work from, and I've gathered the same from you. The gut feeling that I got from Duseka software is that you guys also like to be transparent and honest. So that I appreciate so much. In the last 3 months, I did a lot of diligence on different companies for the migration to Flutter from Xamarin, right? So I've received different types of proposals, some not so professional, others very professional, others super professional, big companies, small companies, freelancers of different types of, and it was quite an interesting exercise. We're about 90% there, signing a final agreement with the e-commerce side for this company that we were contracted by. That's quite a big e-commerce site. Product-wise, line items-wise, it's not the same size as Amazon, but so it's a steel company, and but they don't only do steel, they do irrigation, etc. So they've got about 35,000 line items. Okay, they don't specialize in Xamarin and Flutter. Then I also have work on my website. So I'm looking for a company, and that's why I'm doing so much homework on my side, so much research. I'm looking for a company that I can basically do everything through. I'm not a developer, right?
Right.
But my complaining, because we've had different Indian companies now doing work for us.
Right.
And it seems like everybody coordinates and manages the Git differently, especially the branches and how to sort out the conflicts. Remember, I'm not a developer. I just look from the sideline and I see page regarding the management of the Gits, of the branches. Because like with the one company, they understand the branches 100%. Confident that when they push code to the branch, that we can pull it in and there's no conflicts and no errors and bugs and stuff. Okay, so I must contract with a company that we sort out the branches, we get the marrying of the branches we sort out. And once that is sorted out, everybody's happy. So understand what I'm saying, Malik?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. And it seems it shouldn't be so difficult to manage a branch. That some developers interpret the branches just doesn't work for us. Something locally, but as soon as they push it to the branch so that we want to test it on our dev side, it crashes. Doesn't work. Do a lot of confrontation on my side with my developers that I think, guys, you don't know what you're doing.
From the look of it, I believe that you already have some understanding. Of course, you've got some developers on your end that make sure of the quality is there, proper coding standards are followed. But unfortunately, from our experience, what we've faced is that most of the developers and most of the companies that we have taken work from and we have to build on top, uh, we have seen that the architecture was not actually scalable. I mean, if we can check out the code ourselves, we can basically see if proper standards are maintained within the code, because the most important thing at like our software house at Decycle Software. The reason being, of course, because we've seen that once we develop something for our clients, they actually come back to us for enhancements or changes. And when we don't actually develop it to be scalable, that it actually gets frustrating for us. It isn't as frustrating for our client as it is for us in the end. So we, from the get go, we make sure that all the proper coding practices, those are maintained within the code. If we can check the code from our end, and that is why Shayan actually expressed his concern about the coding standard as well. But we have seen that the coding practices were awful. When we are trying to enhance it, we actually ran into issues that we can find a
I
way where we
understand.
can check the current code. I think that would be the key. We can
Okay.
actually provide you with the real timeline, with the real cost. But apart from that, what we do is we say, okay, we like to build things from scratch. The reason being the coding standards were not there.
Evaluate the current code,
Right.
you'll be able to give me a figure, a rate per hour.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm very happy with that.
I really appreciate it.
I understand, and I agree, because if the coding standards are not up to scratch,
Right.
it's gonna take you time to fix it.
That's correct.
I understand. I understand that. Okay, no, that's fine.
I really appreciate it.
Malik, I can see from your presentation and the way that you convey yourself, a value add, server. There's a lot of enhancements that I want to do. A total inventory system, because remember, cost. The plumber logs into cost, and he must be able to also do inventory for his. If you've got 5 vehicles on the road, you need to schedule them
Neat.
and to dispatch them. So there's a lot of enhancements that I want to do. I was initially, when I called you, it was going on to Fiverr and looking for somebody to do Flutter. But I mean, there could be a lot of from this,
Right.
if you understand what I'm saying.
I do. I do. Absolutely. And thank you so much, Carol, for your honesty regarding the proposal pricing. And definitely, I understand you need to explore negotiation. And of course, as the CEO, sorry to be vague, I'm actually involved more of an strategic oversight, and of course, making sure that all the clients get the value that they're paying for, and they actually get the value back and more. Of course, management team who ensure that rates are competitive and also reflect the high quality and comprehensive nature of the services. And one thing, and of course, we can definitely make sure that we have this like discussion with them to explore flexible options, and we can see where we can make sure that we actually accommodate you in terms of pricing. And one thing you mentioned, I believe is perfect that you mentioned that the use of Git. Was sitting with my developer to push our update the to our website, and I mean, the importance of CI/CD pipelines. I mean, it's huge, it's tremendous, and we implement feature branching. If you're aware of that, and ensure that all new development, these are actually isolated until they are ready to be reviewed and merged. And this actually minimizes that conflicts and maintains the integrity of the main or what I would say production code. I mean, we can pull requests for peer reviews before any code is merged. That is really, really important, and developers tend to ignore that. Our continuous integration and deployment setup, CI/CD that I'm mentioning right now, this actually ensures that updates are smoothly transferred into production without disrupting ongoing operations. I mean, these are small details. These are small things, but they really, really matter. But in terms
Yes,
of pricing, we
yes.
can definitely explore some sit down with my project management team, like a responsible CEO, and make sure that whatever I commit to you, that is actually something that we can deliver, and we can give you the high quality the project.
Okay, so can we quickly look at, because maybe, so what I think is, maybe I must share the Git with you so that you can evaluate the code. Let me just share my screen with you. Can you see my screen?
I can see it.
If we go on to QuickBooks, you'll see that we have add new item. So in the document, you're right, you can see this.
Yeah, I can see it.
So in quotes, I need to add an item, and this is one of the items that I've added, right?
Right.
So the user enters text with an added description, unit, quantity, rate, and markup, right? So it's unit, quantity, rate, and markup. Obviously that must be synced. So all of these line items must sync with QuickBooks, right?
Right.
Select from list is the next one, add from list. The user selects an item from a list. It's one of these items here that gets pulled through also with all these fields, right?
Right.
Load template, that's when the user opts to load a template, and it brings up items like these, right?
So,
Add module item, that's when the user goes on add module item, and he chooses material items from here that is also then taken to or transferred to this list here, right? Copy quote invoice, that is when the user clicks on copy quote here or copy invoice, right?
right.
Um, then the system will then increment the quote number or the invoice number and update the material prices. But obviously, so it will copy this quote, for instance, when I click on that, and with all the line items that was in that were in that quote or invoice, and it updates the pricing. So that's as easy as that.
Right.
Convert to invoice. That's when this quotation is converted to an invoice. So those line items must then go through to QuickBooks, right?
Right.
Invoices, you can add a payment. But I'm not sure if you add a payment here, like this payment here, and then when you go to view invoice, if this payment then reflects in QuickBooks. I don't know if that's possible. So remember, QuickBooks is linked with your bank, and the user who uses QuickBooks can then see that a client has paid an invoice, and it can be allocated to, for instance, in Xero, it does not pull through the payment from cost. But if you add a payment on an invoice that let's say you've sent an invoice from Xero to a client, right? And that client makes, let's say it's for 1,000 rupees, and he pays 500 rupees deposit. That deposit is allocated to that invoice and also put onto the statement, which is sent back to the client to show that his balance is 500.
Right.
Okay. So take note of, the user can opt to show or hide items on the quote or invoice. Under the View tab, the user must then insert the contacts that are here that was created and cost must sync with your QuickBooks profile, right? Contacts that you have in QuickBooks must sync to your cost profile.
Right.
Okay, that's the only discipline that has two-way syncing. Further than that, only the quotes that you do in cost must sync with your QuickBooks profile, but not back. Invoices that you do in cost must sync with your QuickBooks profile, but not back. If you add a payment in QuickBooks, we must investigate that payment comes back to cost. It can reflect on the invoice that you send from cost to your client.
Got it.
Am I going too quick, or are you with me?
No, absolutely. I understood so far. Everything is understandable.
Okay. The document, please ignore this one here. And like I said, you must give me an estimate for only is one-way sync, so you must only give me an estimate for point number one, estimate number one, integration.
Right. Absolutely. I'll do that. Is it okay if I just briefly describe what I've understood from this meeting? And of course, you can
Right,
step in. Right.
right.
So what we have discussed is the scope of work is primarily would involve like improving the synchronization of data between cost and QuickBooks, and this would include the handling of quotations, invoices, client contacts, and to be specific, what we have discussed in this meeting as well. First of all, for the add new items, users can insert text with added like descriptions, unit. It could be units like quantity, rate, markup to a quote or invoice. Users would select items from a predefined list, and users can load a grouping of items which would be saved as template and which would automatically update the material prices to the latest. And module item, what we'll need to do is we would allow the addition of material items with the price to the list of items. And users can copy an existing quote or invoice, and the system will increment the number and update material items prices. Automatic, it is going to be automatic. The invoice number in the system would be automatically updated, and users can add payment, and of course typically it would be the deposit amount requested when the quote was sent to clients. And one thing we have mentioned is users have the options to show or hide items on quotes or prices, as you just mentioned, and when items are hidden.
If you, let's say you have 4 items, the plumber does not want to display or specify the materials he's going to use. Okay, so what he does is he chooses 4 items for his costing, but then he hides the items and he gives a group description for it to say
Right.
materials for installation, but it includes 4 items. But now, if you have two-way sync, when you come back from 0 to cost, what then happens is goes haywire, because where do you allocated it in cost? That's a problem. So I've decided not to go for the hidden item script. Malik, also very important,
Right.
and I'll quickly put it into the document.
Sure.
The syncing is only for quotes and invoices that come from cost to QuickBooks. If the user creates a new quote or invoice in QuickBooks, that new quote and invoice must not sync with his cost profile.
Right.
It's only for quotes and invoices coming from cost to QuickBooks.
Got it.
And then when we've completed QuickBooks, I'd like to then do Sage.
Okay, that is understood. That is understood. Just to make sure that we are aligned with, because this is really, really important. So now it is clear, especially regarding how certain features like hidden items on invoices, these are handled. So of course, you've mentioned that how we will handle the synchronization between cost and QuickBooks, especially considering your decision not to include hidden items due to the complexities with two-way sync is for handling grouped descriptions for costing items. Since you've chosen not to sync hidden items when items are grouped under a single description for costing purposes and cost, this will be maintained in QuickBooks when synced. And of course, to avoid complexities in reverse synchronization, these group descriptions and their associated items, these won't be disaggregated back into cost from QuickBooks. And this decision because you have this preference for maintaining clarity and preventing allocation issues in cost. That is understood. And organization, this will be configured as one way from cost to QuickBook. This means any new quotes or invoices, this will be created and which will be created in cost will sync to QuickBook. Any updates or completion in QuickBook, this will not sync back to cost. This setup would make sure that cost remains the primary source of entry and management for quotes. I think that makes sense. Uh, okay, we are
100%.
aligned to that.
100%. You know what? Instead of going back and forth,
Sure.
let me be honest with you. What I can, okay, life is about choices.
No, I understand. And we've got just 1 minute remaining. You don't have to worry about that. I'll just after this meeting, I'll discuss this with my team. And
You know, this is a nice startup, and we're going places. We're going to do very well in a year to come. But for now, I must.
looking forward to it. And that's completely fine and understandable, actually. You don't have to worry about that. So I'll discuss
Okay.
everything with my team and let you know in the WhatsApp chat.
Okay. Thank you, Malik.
Oh,
Keep
thank you
well.
so much, Karel.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Salam.
Bye.
Bye.